welcome to Struggle Streaming with JR. This evening, we've got actually
And we
Aubrey in the
changed your
building.
plan, actually, Aubrey.
Yeah.
Call me change your plan for short.
hmm
Uh, yeah. Well, how's
All
everybody
right. So
doing? I hope you
we
guys
are
had a
good.
good weekend. Go ahead.
Yeah, like it's been nice and warm here. I hope everybody's doing well. Had a great Sunday. How's the weather over where you are, Aubrey?
It is a balmy 73 degrees. It's very humid. So that's why I say balmy, because I know that doesn't sound real hot, but it was up to about 77 today. So really nice, real nice weather.
Okay, cool. Cool. You get out, do anything exciting?
Self to brunch, and then I went on a little mini shopping excursion. So yeah, I would say so. I'm quite pleased with myself because I did self-care today. I didn't worry about anybody else. I just did self-care.
All right, that's all good. All right, well, let's tuck into this latest episode, this latest installment of the Never Ever Mets, episode 7.
Yes.
All right. So, um, first of all, what did you think of the episode overall?
I thought it was interesting. It had some interesting dynamics with, the therapy session that we saw, and the newlywed or newly met game. And then of course the photo shoot with Jody and Aaron. And then of course to wrap it, it was an exciting episode. I enjoyed it.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I thought the episode was all right. To be fair, a lot has happened in the last few weeks and it's changed the complexion of some of the relationships that I thought would have a chance of being successful. Um, and I think we've had some revelations this episode that we already knew. So let's dive in straight away. Let's talk about the Aaron, Jay, and Jody situation revelation. So
Yes,
this couple,
or as I
this
like to.
this couple,
Mhm.
go ahead.
No. You go ahead. I go ahead.
Right, this couple from the start have had people questioning whether they're legit. People in the house have been questioning it, and then obviously us viewers, we've at times questioned whether their connection was real, whether it's to do with Aaron specifically, or is it Jody, or is it both? So, um, yeah, I think we finally got a conclusion to where this relationship's heading. What did you think about their portion of the show?
We're on Aaron, Jay, and Jody, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I thought it was very interesting. I thought the photo shoot was beautiful, but I somehow suspect, and you tell me what you think. I somehow suspect that Jody, when she heard photo shoot, I think she thought that they would take the photo shoot separately, like individually. And I think
hmm
that's what she was excited for. But instead, uh, she was kind of roped into.
Your audio's dipping in and out, Aubrey.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Try again. Let's see if we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I was saying that I thought that Jody wanted to. She wanted the photo shoot to be like individual photo shoot, and maybe at the end they could have
hmm
came together. But I think from what we saw, I think she was disappointed that she had to do it with Aaron.
Yeah. And why do you think that is?
I don't think she likes Aaron. I know she doesn't respect him. I know she doesn't respect him, and I really don't feel like she likes him. I think she looks down on him. You're muted, JR. You're muted.
Oh, sorry, I was letting you go. um, yeah, I think this connection may have been something online, but it's dwindled ever since they met in person. It's completely evaporated. She's never been attracted to him from day one, and I think he has
Yes.
tried to shift the balance. You know, maybe hopefully trying to see if there's something that can work. But Jodie, I think she's pretty much made it clear that this relationship ain't gonna go nowhere. And we saw it. We saw it from day one, pretty much. But instead of getting closer, it seems like they've gotten further and further apart. Despite him trying, she seems pretty much certain that there's no progression. There's no need to.
Yeah,
So
but the
is
but
Aaron
what
is Aaron like her safety net? Do you think?
I'm trying to figure out safety net for what, because why doesn't she just go ahead and tell him how she truly feels? And for a sexologist, I think there's something wrong with that. I think they should take her sexology license.
Hmm. Well, she's not putting into practice whatever she studied. So, what's the point in having that information and that
Or a
knowledge if
true
you're not going to apply
certificate.
it to your own situation?
Right. Right, exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
Why do you think I got a
So,
question for you? I got I got a
uh-huh.
question for you. Why do you think Aaron uh hasn't observed or is in denial about how she truly feels about him? Because everyone around them can see it.
Hmm. I think he's deluded himself into wanting it to work. So I think, despite what everybody's saying around him, I think he does see that how she treats him. But I think, from what I've seen of him, I think he's trying to be hopeful and hope that it will somehow change and she'll be into him somehow.
Mm, yeah, I don't think so. I don't
I
think
don't think so
so.
either. I think it's very naive of him to think she's going to change. You know, she's already been around him for a little while now, and
Yeah.
he's been in the doghouse quite a bit. So, yeah, I really don't see a connection forming at all. She's not going to grow to like him.
No, I don't think so. I agree with you.
Hmm.
So you
So,
think do you think they'll be eliminated? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I think it's that time. I think they've had long enough to gel and see how far it can go. And if there's no connection, um, not saying they have to be in the boom boom room or anything like that, but they're just not progressing. So at this point, if they went home, at least they can say they met and they can finally put it to bed. Hmm. So, what do you think about the choice of costume that Jodie chose?
There you go. There you have it.
Yo, Aubrey.
Boom.
Hello, Aubrey. Wait,
Hmm.
why? Hello,
It
Aubrey.
looked nice on her. Do you think that it was maybe trying to be like a dominatrix? Hello?
Yeah, I think it was trying to be kind of like a dominatrix. And that's why I asked you about the choice of costume, because for someone who's been so adamant about not building a connection with him intimately or anything, I was
Oh,
wondering what kind of inspired that look that she chose. Um, but yeah, they're just not compatible. I saw like she didn't feel anything from the kiss at all, and I'm not surprised actually. I'll be more surprised if she did feel something. I see them lasting much longer. There's no point. And yes, the devil horns. Yeah, hey, you're cutting in and out. I can hear you now.
wow. I don't know. I think I was trying to leave out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, I I thought that they actually look, this is the first time we seen them look good together. But when he went to kiss her and hold her face, she moved back. She moved away from him. Kind of similar to Millie when Greg went to kiss her in the pool. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She doesn't, neither one of these two ladies like intimacy. Neither one.
Right. Well, they may like it, just not with the people that they're with at the moment.
I'm gonna
Um,
say,
mhm.
okay.
Now go ahead.
I'm gonna say, I don't think, let me rephrase what I said because I said neither one like intimacy. I agree with you that it's possible that it could be the men that they're with, but I also think because we're aware of their trauma, at least to me, in my thoughts, in my opinion, I think both of them struggle with intimacy.
Hmm.
So even if they wanted to be intimate with their individual partners, I think there's an internal struggle going on. It's like they're conflicted.
Mm,
And
right. And
if
how
you
do you think that
notice,
pans
both
out in a
Millie,
relationship, though?
it's going to be frustrating for the person that's dealing with that because you're never going to get it right.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're
Very
never going
true.
to get it right. If you notice with yeah, with Millie and Greg, Greg never gets it right, according to Millie. She's like, well, he was good, but it's the smaller things that matter. Now, if he got the smaller things, then she would say, but oh, he didn't do a grand gesture. He should have done a grand gesture. So it's all, he's always going to be missing the mark. You see what
Hmm.
I'm saying?
Yeah. I
In
definitely
my
see that.
opinion, that's struggle.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And I think it's going to be hard because, if intimacy is a component of the relationship and it's something that isn't going to be, um, you know, freely exchanged between the two of them, then again, I think that lessens the chance of success in a relationship. Someone's going to stray if it stays like that because then they're just not connected or attracted to each other in that way. And for some reason, Jody doesn't just want to let Aaron go yet. But I think it's that time. I think after that kiss, and she said multiple times she didn't feel anything. So I think that kind
Yeah.
of opens the door for her to put him out of his misery now.
Yeah. Taronda
Mm.
can give them their pink slip.
Okay. And also, you know what was telling? When they got home from the photo shoot, she just basically wanted to just eat pizza and go to bed. It didn't actually bring them closer. Like she wanted to spend the evening with him or anything. Nah, it was like it looked like she just was over it at that point. So yep, that one's history in my books. Relationships over. Okay.
I
Any more thoughts?
I
No, your sound.
yeah, I agree.
Okay.
No,
All
just
right.
one
Let's
last
shift.
thing. I romantically, and that's what they maybe initially came. Hello. Even though she may
Yeah.
not have liked. Okay, go ahead. Want to shift over to the next couple?
Yeah. Let's shift it. All right. We have Chris and Sandia. Now, Chris obviously he's generated a lot of heat so far this season, and rightly so for the majority of it, except for his altercation with Millie, where she kind of instigated everything and went off on him. But this week, Chris gets to bring his homeboy, his friend. Sandia brings her girlfriend too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't think of a
Mm-hmm.
worse person than who Chris brought. Like, that is the worst person to bring in this situation because that dude seemed to reinforce a lot of the stuff that people in the house, at least, don't like about Chris. That mindset that he has, where it's basically smash and dash or pump and dump, as they call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
it's it's obviously not a good look for him to have someone like that who's basically his representative, someone who he rolls around with quite often. Can't have that guy representing you in this situation. What did you think about the friend?
Oh, I thought he was perfect. I loved him, and you know why I loved him?
Why?
you know, you know why I loved him because birds of a feather flock together, and I'm hoping that Sandia doesn't have to hit her head on a brick wall, burn her hand on a hot stove to find out those things are true.
Mm,
So his friend was perfect, and I'm hoping that she gets how perfect he is because when we think about it, when we first met Chris, he was sitting at the table later on that evening with the
mm-mm,
and he was spouting off the exact same stuff that his friend Benz was saying.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I feel like it wasn't a good idea to bring that guy. If Chris knew that was his friend's mindset beforehand, why on earth would you bring him onto the show to meet Sandia? Like he's basically that guy's basically going to confirm Sandia's worst fears about Chris and his motives. So that wasn't a good look. But he did try to distance himself from a lot of the stuff that the friend was saying. Uh, do you think that convinced
They were
Sandia and the
saying the
friend?
same thing, right?
Uh, well, yes. Initially, Chris was saying all of that when he first got to the house, but um, when his friend's there right next to him, he's trying to distance himself from some of the things the friend is saying. Hmm. What did you think of their interaction? Uh, Wait a minute. I can't hear you at all. Are you still there? Okay. We may need to get Aubrey to jump out and jump back in. But yeah, so the friend basically just, I think he ruined or potentially ruined Chris's connection. He was able to salvage it by distancing himself from some of the comments, but yeah, that just wasn't a good look. But I do think Chris and Sandia are slowly turning a page. Like they're slowly turning the corner. I think there is a faint hope because she's still invested, and so is he. So I think there's a good chance that they can make it. Ha! Baby doll says they're F boys. Dear. Yeah, but is Chris trying to be a reformed F boy and form a relationship with Sandia? Is he trying to change, or do you think he's just trying to hit it, and then once he hits it, then he's bouncing? And when I say it, you know, I'm not trying to disrespect Sandia. I mean, just in the terms like of how we speak about it. Do you think Chris is just trying to be intimate with Sandia and then kick out? It's the thrill of the chase kind of thing. Huh. Ari says, you have more faith in Chris and Cindy. Yeah. Well, like I said, they're still invested to some degree. It's nowhere near as bad as Aaron and Jody. So they're F boys. They're crazy. All right. Any more thoughts, Aubrey? You still there? I don't know. Chris showed he's behind more than once. I think it's a smashing that. Ooh. Really? Wow. Yeah, Chris has got into his fair shares of scuffles. I definitely see that. But I don't know if I don't know. Sandia comes across as a very warm, caring, loving person. I think Chris would have to be very diabolical to try and do that with Sandia. She's a relationship kind of girl. He knows that. So I hope he isn't doing that. That would be particularly heinous, I must say. So yeah, I also I noticed that there wasn't any heat between Sandia's friend and Chris. They seem to get on well too. So that's a good sign. She weren't immediately turned off and you know anti their relationship. But yeah, so I think they're gradually turning a corner. Hopefully they are. And we'll see how that goes. He doesn't deal in negativity. He doesn't want to talk and clash with people too much. But I do think it was very interesting that Chris was telling Aaron that he doesn't like the way Jody treats him. And as much as he likes Jody, if he was in Aaron's situation, he wouldn't be cool with how Aaron's being treated. I thought that was very interesting. And that proved to me that Chris don't really like Jody at all, because he wasn't taking up for her. He has no reason to, but I'm saying he was telling it like it is. He wasn't BSing. He was like, "Listen, Aaron, she's treating you mean, bruh. She don't like you." So, but yeah, hopefully Chris and Sandia are on the right track. All right. We're gonna flip it. We're gonna move on to the next couple, and that is dun 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 Greg and Millie. Okay, now Greg and Millie, I think they're in some turbulent water right now. They're in a very bad place. It's not going too well. Greg finds himself in the doghouse again, and I think he's beginning to get frustrated with it. I think he's beginning to say to himself, "Look, like, how is it that every week, or every time there's always something that he's either not doing right or he's expected to do?" Um, but I did think, when they sat down with the therapist, we saw the eye roll that Millie gave him last week, but now, and with the reassuring words of the therapist, she seemed to warm up to the idea of at least consoling him while he was revealing his personal trauma. And the therapist thanked him for doing so. Um, and I think that was the only reason why Millie kind of stopped side-eyeing him. Really, I think she wanted the shine. I think she wanted to have the spotlight um, in front of the therapist, so that so that it could all be about her trauma and the things she's experienced. And I felt like there was some slight animosity when Greg opened up about his situation. But yeah, the therapy session got salvaged. It went quite well after that. But then they played the couple game. And Millie's been planning stuff for Greg's birthday. So she was very pissed when he didn't remember her exact birth date. Does anybody think that's a valid reason to get upset? Like, if you were Millie, would you be upset if you were planning someone's birthday and you'd obviously been dating them for 3 years online? Would you be upset if he didn't know your exact birth date during the game in front of the other couples? I know what the answer is, but I just want to hear it from you. Yo, my bro.
Yo, what's good, you bro? You right, yeah?
Yeah, I'm all good, bro. Struggle streaming out here, bro.
Not struggle streaming, my guy. Why you struggle streaming, bro?
I'm struggle streaming, brother.
No, brother. It shouldn't be that way, my guy.
Yeah, bro. How you been though? All good?
I'm all good, bro. I'm all good. I'm ready for these conversations, though, brother. You get me?
Yeah, all right, bro. Well, right now, just chopping up about Greg and Millie, and we can
Okay.
go back to the ones we covered before. But what are your thoughts on Greg and Millie's interaction this episode, bro?
Yeah, man. Listen, Greg and Millie's situation is political, in it, really and truly. Because I think when you look at Greg and Millie and you look at their situation, what you're really, in a sense, kind of looking at is that you're looking at a situation where, Millie and Greg need to learn how to communicate. And one of the hardest things about these situations is that in an argument, not in an argument, but let's start at the beginning, right? The issue that they had at the therapist, last week we saw her not kind of be open towards his own trauma, and
Hmm.
she didn't really help the cause, right? And this happens sometimes where you are easily triggered because you're going through your own situation that you don't have capacity to deal with somebody else's.
Hmm.
And what that is an indication that you need to do some work on you. You need to work on your
Yeah.
capacity. You need to start healing you. Because what you're really saying is, I've only got space for me. Well, then you ain't got space to be in a relationship. You know what I'm saying to
Hmm.
you? If you can't accommodate someone else's trauma. So in that situation, she handled it very poorly because he did support her and we saw it, right? But
Hmm.
I think further on down the line, obviously the situation with the birthday, I also understand her frustrations. She should be validated in a birthday situation. That it's painful to kind of not have your birthday remembered, right? And so
Hmm.
that should be an apology from him. Let her know, hey, I'm sorry I forgot your birthday. It's one of those things. I do apologize. And she has to let him know what the meaning of her birthday is to him. If you are in a relationship, you have to let people know what this means to you. I'm in situations with relationships where I've done I've felt some type of way about something, but I've never told the person what it means to me. So my reaction seems abnormal, right? Now
Right.
everybody might say, okay, it's a birthday, we get it, right? Okay, but this will happen somewhere else. It will happen with, let's say I didn't come home for dinner. Well, how did you come home for dinner? The same energy is gonna be put because how we often do something is how we do everything, right? So in the situation with Millie and Greg, she just needs to let him know what it means to her, and then he needs to acknowledge, okay, this means a lot to you. Your birthday means a lot to you. I can see how you may have taken my lack of knowledge in certain areas as being that I don't really care for you, which is absolutely real,
Hmm.
absolutely real. And so then he apologizes for that, and we move forward, right? And this takes what we call the word vulnerability, and this is where a lot of arguments that become explosive happen when people don't become vulnerable in the way that they feel. Then people start deflecting, people start protecting, people start defense mechanisms, people start doing all sorts of things, and what ends up happening is that people miss each other. So yeah, I think with Greg and Millie, there's some work to do on that perspective. It's not all lost, but it just needs an air of vulnerability from both parties.
Yeah. Now I hear you on that. Now the thing that concerns me about them is the frequency of them clashing, bro. Like he starts to almost seem frustrated that they're clashing so often, and he's in the doghouse all the time, right? Recently, and I had high hopes for them, but I agree with you. It seemed as if she wanted the spotlight to be on her trauma and her feelings about it when they sat down with the therapist. But this is couples therapy, so it's not an individual thing. It's like both parties have an opportunity to share any experience that they've had that has affected the way they view or experience relationships. And yeah, obviously there was a look of, I wouldn't say contempt, but the eye rolling was like, man, it was like, I don't want to hear your stuff. Can't you see I'm talking about mine? And that was the attitude she gave. And they salvaged it at the end. Like I said, the therapist kind of welcomed him opening up because she realized it must have been a difficult thing to reveal after so long of holding it. And that's when I think Millie was like, okay, let me hold his hand and pat him on the back. Only because the therapist reaction. I think if the therapist hadn't said anything, I think Millie would have sat there still side eyeing. But the forgetting of the birthday thing. Now they're on good terms, so I definitely don't think it was like a punishment thing. I think it's definitely a sign that he hasn't been paying as much attention to her as she may have liked. So, that's not going to sit well with her. And it wouldn't sit well with most people.
Absolutely, bro. And I think okay, so the tough thing about this situation is they've had 3 years. You need to know a baseline of the person. And I'm going to say this from some recent experiences that I've had and some of the things that God has been working with me on and what my coaching I've been doing with clients has been working with me on. One of the things about relationships that's going to make people fail is durability. but durability in a sense of understanding principles when it comes to a relationship. In this situation with Millie and Greg, right, it's going to be patience. His patience is going to be tested versus her healing. Okay. And in a relationship, sometimes the person's patience does not outlast the person's healing. What that means is there are some people who you just know you shouldn't be in a relationship with, right? And there are some people who are going through things who need you, okay, to have patience to outlast their healing process. What that means is I'm not telling you to stay in situations that are going to be ruin you and destroy you. What I'm saying is you as an individual have to get to a place where you have capacity to deal with what that person's holding and carrying. Like something that Millie's doing, right? How it works is this. Once somebody gets understanding, see, someone like Millie, you know, when she had scoffed at my trauma, I'd have had to pull her up and this is something I'm growing into doing. I'd have had to pull her up and say, listen, Millie, can I be honest with you? During the part where I want to say first and foremost, how I felt in the session, I felt kind of disrespected. And I felt like, you know, you didn't hold space for me when you were rolling your eyes and, you know, flinging your arms at the point when I was sharing my trauma. It's made me feel like this is no longer a safe space for me. Now, I don't believe you're intentionally trying to hurt me, and I don't believe you're trying to nuke me or kill me, right? If that is the case, then I've got you wrong. And if that is the case, you don't need to be in a relationship with me, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to see the good in you, right? And I'm going to say, that behavior, though, is below standards for what we should be expecting from each other. It is not of the level that I'm requiring of you and what I require of myself when I want to make a healthy relationship work between the two of us, right?
Right.
And I am hurt by that behavior. What I want to see in future is that when I do open up and I do share, because I want to do those things with you, because I like you, you know, I'm attracted to you, I want to make this work. When I do that in future, what I want to see is that you're able to hold my eye contact, you know, that you're paying attention by listening, maybe even just saying, hey, asking a follow-up question. That's what I want to see in future. And it's very tough to have that type of conversation because it's very tough to have that kind of conversation because in reality, when we're in pain, it's very difficult to follow principles apart from the one that says suck out. Like when I say suck out, like suck, you know, that's British people say suck out, blood. What do you mean, like get the F out of here? You know what I mean? Like it's easy to go down that route. But what I'm learning is if you want your relationship to be durable and sustainable, whether that person is bad or not makes no difference. You have to hold your standard up to that level because if I leave that relationship, I'm only going to do it again. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So I'm not giving Millie a pass. Millie gets no passes. In fact, we have to hold her accountable. But Greg needs to do this. And the way that Greg needs to do this, he needs to be assertive, but he also has to understand that his feelings and his wants are also important. We've seen her behavior happen because it happened with Chris. And because he didn't shut it down there and let her know that her behavior was not becoming and it's not the standard of their relationship, it carried on and it came to him. Oh, you thought because she was doing it over there, it ain't gonna come to you? No, it's gonna come to you too. Right? So he has to get to a place where he puts his needs and his wants first as a priority. You do not put the mask on someone else's face before you put it on yours. And when you get to that place and you start realizing you can do that, you're actually going to save your relationship. So Millie needs him to check her, but he needs to check himself first. So once he does that and goes, actually, I got needs here and I got wants here, then what he can do is then say to her, hey, I don't think that was our level. That was below standards. The way that we've worked our relationships, it's not what I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not what we want. It's not how we want to make our relationship work. Right? And actually the Bible says, heap hot coals on your enemy by showing them love. When your partner seems to be acting like an enemy, that's when you show even more love. You hold more space for them. So I'm not saying that you should let the person just do one riot. Millie can do whatever she wants. Nah, brother, you have to hold her accountable, but you do that by actually addressing the issue appropriately and being vulnerable. That's the hard part.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. But the thing is, though, I'm not sure he's confident enough to do that because I'm not sure if he thinks she's going to be receptive, because the incident with Chris was amped up, like she was hot, and he couldn't calm the situation. She wasn't going to listen to him in that moment. She was going to let rip with whatever she was feeling at the time. And then, even though it wasn't directed at him, he didn't, from what we've seen, he hasn't sat down with her and said, you know, outbursts like that are not acceptable. You know, we can do better than that. If you have a problem with someone, just don't interact with them. You don't need to go off on them like that. Because, you know, and when he tried to mediate by getting them to sit down together to discuss the issue, that's what actually inflamed the situation even more, right? So now he is involved, partly for arranging their sit down. And even still, after it blew up, he didn't say anything. I think it's very interesting also that when he shared his trauma and Millie gave the reaction that she did, he didn't hold it against her. He didn't even say anything about it. And I'm not sure if that's because he didn't notice her reaction, or if he just was afraid to, you know, say something at that time. But yeah, I think this connection seems a lot more volatile now. Not just mainly due to how hostile she can get, but I agree it's to do with Greg as well. He doesn't hold her to a standard which makes her think twice about going off. And that's not good. You know, she needs to consider the fact that if she's pissed about something, or, you know, he's forgotten about the birthday, just go to each other. She can go to him and speak and let her feelings be known in a way which then he can correct himself, and then they can move forward. But when she gets into the habit of going off and flipping, she's not going to row back from doing that if she's constantly allowed to. If she keeps being given that grace, you know, like the saying goes, if you give someone an inch and they take a yard, that's what's going to keep happening. And it's not a good look for their connection.
Yeah, you're not telling no lies, bro. I can't lie to you. You know, I think, you know, they just got some work to do. That's what I would say. You know what I mean? I don't have anything more to add to them without actually, you know, doing more. But yeah, I think they just got to work on some things. And it could work. It might not work if the trauma outweighs the patience, but yeah, it's something they have to work on.
All right. Well, do you listen before you came on, bro?
I think many respects, Greg. Hey.
Before you came on, like briefly, we started off with Aaron J and Jody and Chris and Sandia. What were your thoughts on any of those couples? Where would you like to go with either of them?
Yeah. I mean, listen. Sandy and Chris, I mean, if I'm honest with you, I look at that situation and the disrespect is too much for me, like sometimes. But with Chris and Sandia, Sandia needs to find her voice, and quickly, because the situation is becoming political. Right? And it's becoming political because she's not speaking up. She's not telling him how she feels. And when you don't tell people how you feel, you leave yourself open to disrespect, and you leave yourself open for misinterpretation. You lead yourself to, lead yourself to, it leads us to places where a person will take more and more and more and more from you because you're not saying anything. You see, relationships are like contracts, and you agree verbally. And so when you don't say anything and you don't do anything and you don't respond in a way to somebody's behavior, you are giving them more license to do whatever they want. And so with Sandia, that friend that came through was just nonsense. I hope that was just for TV, because that was nonsense. Allowing a friend to come in and just say all that he said, I would have taken offense to it if I was Sandia's friend. And if you come, and also it shows a high disrespect. It also shows a disrespect for your boy too, right? Like JR, if you tell me you want to actually meet your girl, whether I like her or not, yeah, I'm never gonna come out and be like, he can't be monogamous, he can't do this, he can't. Why would I do that to you?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right? That's telling me about the kind of friendship that you guys have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So that was the first kind of impression there. Number two, the fact that it's almost as if he's been the cop block girlfriend, right? You know those girls that cop block their girls? That he's giving that kind of energy, like, I don't want my boy to ever leave the streets. Bro, this is a conversation you have behind the scenes with him, not with the girl that he's in question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he may have valid points, but the fact that he's even talking about it this way frustrates me. You know what I mean? Frustrates me. I can't lie to you. You know, I just think to myself that it's problematic in the way that's gone. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Yeah. So yeah, for me, Chris and Sandia was another situation. I was just like, ugh. You know what I mean? That brother there, yeah, you're a true brother. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed in that.
Yeah, nah, I hear you on that, bro. He definitely tried to snake him, bro. It seemed like he came there to sabotage their relationship, to be honest, because none of that stuff is conducive to what a lady would want to hear in that relationship aspect, right? Like, he's there to vouch for his boy in that moment. He's his representative. Like, you know, this is probably someone he goes back with a few years. So if he really respected the fact that Chris was into Sandia, I would have thought he would have come with a different narrative for Chris. But no, he literally tried to throw him under the bus with all this I want to say definitely borderline red pill, you know, regurgitating a lot of talking points that well-known content creators used to say. And the response, usually when you espouse that type of stuff, is you're going to get heat. So I don't know what the friend was thinking, but if I was Chris, I'll be having stern words with him about the way he conducted himself. Because this is my lady, and I'm bringing you here to try and show you who I'm interested in, I want to have a relationship with. And you're coming off with, wow, like, I think he should be single and he should be out in the club and the relationships. Like, he just trashing the whole thing. So, yeah, he snaked his boy. No doubt about it. And I think Sandia's friend, she didn't really say too much. But I'm not sure if that's good or bad, because Chris can generate heat out of nowhere. And I think one of the saving graces is that he didn't generate any heat in this particular situation. And
Yeah.
what about Aaron and Jody, bro?
I mean, listen, we already know about Aaron and Jody, innit? You know what I'm saying to you? We already know about Aaron and Jody. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Yeah, Aaron and Jody is kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, yeah, no, Aaron and Jody's crazy. Because I feel like they're not having an honest conversation, or at least they know something we don't know. You know what I mean? Like, because this situation where someone says they're kissing you, don't feel no connection. I think we do need to have one of those real conversations now, right? So what needs to happen is Aaron needs to pull Jody aside and have a real conversation. And I think he has a real conversation in terms of what are they expecting from a relationship right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what are we really expecting? Because we're in a situation where the girl that you're liking is kind of refusing to give you any kind of energy in a romantic sense. Mm-hmm. Now, we can easily say just leave, and probably he should leave. I think we all can say the same thing, right? But if we were to work it out as if like we want to make the relationship work, we want to see a relationship grow, we want to see a relationship be better, how would we go about making sure the relationship can actually go in the right direction? Well, I think one of the ways that we do that is by having what we call the hard conversation. And he needs to be honest and open about what he wants and what he expects from her. The problem is he's placed no demand on her. See, and I used to behave like Aaron too, and this is why I had to do a lot of work, and I'm still doing a lot of work. When someone is not giving you what you want, it's easy just to quit, but you need to place a demand on them. Aaron has of yet not placed any demand on her because he's too willing to be too understanding. And because he's doing that, he keeps extending the rope, right? But the reality of the situation is, as he extends the rope, she's getting further and further and further and further and further away. There's no demand placed on her. So she's unwilling to yield to any expectations. Now, here's the thing. Once I start roping you in and pulling you in and saying, actually, there is some expectations I have of our communication and what we want to see, that person can let you know either yes or no. If they're saying yes, they want to be in a relationship with you and they want to work things through. If they say no, then you know you're not meant to be there. Right? So when people care about you and people want to see a romantic relationship work, when you start placing a demand on them that, hey, these are my expectations. Look, I know that, you know, the kissing thing for you, I want to know your honest thoughts about the kissing thing. Or when he says, okay, look, we kissed, I felt it was good, but then your energy shifted at the house. What's going on? Sometimes you need to pull people up, because what people want to do is hide in the shadows of the light that you're shining. They can't do that forever. You're going to get tired. So you need to actually pull them up. This is where you need to be a bit more assertive and let the person know, again, like I said about the Greg situation, letting them know, actually, can I be honest with you? This situation doesn't work for me the way it's going. And I want to come to a solution, because I don't want the solution just to walk away. But I want a solution that says, how do we now get to a place where we can have a better connection right now? Because right now I can see that connection is not there. Or I'm not feeling the connection right now. What's going on with you? What's actually happening with you? Is everything okay on your side? Right? That's what we need to have those conversations. But he needs to pull her up. If he doesn't do that, then he's gonna be in problems.
Right. Yeah, he seems very reluctant to pull her up about anything, because I think he just doesn't want to get both barrels, get scolded. And she's quite capable of doing that, right? Now, I think he is kind of too invested and has a lot of feelings for her, which is why he doesn't put his foot down. But she's gonna run a mile with it. She not only didn't feel anything from the kiss, but she hasn't felt anything for him the entire time that they've been around each other physically. Nothing at all. And it seems like the longer she stays around him, the more repulsed she is. Her confessional, she emphasized so many times how she didn't feel anything from that kiss. And then getting home is like she just wanted to eat her pizza and go to bed. Like, there was no closeness. It didn't bring them anywhere closer to forming what could even pass as a possible connection. So yeah, like I said earlier, I think their time's up, man. I think after this revelation, you know, if she's not moved by the kiss, she didn't flip out on him at the time, but if it didn't move her at all, she didn't feel anything. You know, they've been in the house together for a little while now. They've watched the couples interact. They've done couple challenges where they've, done intimacy challenges and how much do you know about the person and all these other different things. Yeah, it's time to throw in the towel now. And I think Jodie wants to do it on her terms. And that's probably how it's going to happen. I think she'll end the relationship before he does. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look, let's be honest. None of us like this situation. None of us like it. And if we're really being our honest, authentic self, if I wasn't trying to coach the situation, I'd tell him, listen, quit that situation. But yeah, I think Jodie also needs to be honest with herself and ask a key question: why is she there? Why does she want to stay in a situation where, you know, why does she want to be in a situation where, where she gets to, you're kind of just meandering through this relationship. Like you're not really getting anything from it. There's nothing coming from it at the moment. There's nothing fruitful from it because you're not romantically involved. Now, it could be because of the show. It could be because of, wanting more TV time. But if we just take it as a real life, these things happen. Women will stay in certain, women and men will end up staying in certain situations just to be able to have someone there, right, as a backup almost plan, or someone as a safety net. But really what it is that emotionally you don't want to be alone. but you don't want to give yourself over to that person. You want them when you want them. And so those are relationships of convenience. They're convenient to me because they speak to the time that I need you, but I don't want to give you what you need from me. So the relationship is one-sided, and unfortunately, people lose out. Now, what's the key thing about the situation is, what's the key thing about these situations is that people, are doing themselves disservice by staying in this relationship because you're not actually doing the work that needs to be done. Like, we can talk about opportunity cost. She's a beautiful girl. She can get another guy. It's not just opportunity cost. It's actually a cost to yourself. Because if you stay in that position, you're not actually growing and you're not actually learning. And because you're unwilling to give yourself and be vulnerable, there is no stretching that's actually happening. So actually, really, when you deep it, you're not actually growing from the situation. Because when things happen and we are committed and we want to see things work, even when it's not working, we're committed, we stretch. But she's not doing that. So there's going to be no stretching. So actually, she's wasting her time being here because she's not given anything. So yeah, it's on her part. I mean, it would seem that she probably should quit it, but I think she's making a whole lot of excuses because it's a relationship of convenience. We can't hear you, JR. Hey, where JR gone, bro? JR, you there? Man, that's a struggle streaming. It really is a struggle streaming because
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm here, bro. Yeah. So what I was saying is, I feel like it is a relationship of comfort and convenience for Jodie. I think by keeping him there as like a placeholder, it stops her from going out there, meeting new guys, having to explain her traumas again, having to get to know someone again, all that stuff. She just keeping him there, just to be there, not to actually progress the relationship into something more romantic or longer lasting. And I think she'll keep him there as long as possible too, until he actually gets some strength and some bass in his voice and says, "Nah, look, it's not working. Like the relationship I want to have with you, you're not allowing us to have it. Like, you're shutting this down because I'm trying out here. Like, everyone can see I'm trying to make amends for things that you've been through. I'm trying to comfort you, console you. If I step out of line, I'm quick to apologize and own it. But nothing seems to be bringing us closer." That's the type of conversation he needs to have with her. And in a weird way, I think despite how reactive we've seen her, I think she would be receptive to what he's saying, but she would still continue to word it in a way which keeps him still hanging on for hope, because I don't think she wants to let him go. If she was completely repulsed by him, she would have cut him off completely. So I think the fact that she's not physically attracted to him but still keeps him there means she's just keeping him as like an emotional support, like a comforter, right? He's not as turbulent and problematic in his personality where, she's going to have to go back and forth with him all the time. But what she does is she keeps him in line, keeps him in check. Anytime he steps out, if he tries to do something that she hasn't experienced before with him, she'll scold him. Now get back into that box where you were. Now you're acting out character. What? You moved the bed. Oh my God. Like, listen, that's something that you shouldn't be doing. Like, those type of things. So he's going to be walking on eggshells the whole time that they're together. Now, I found it interesting that in the photo shoot, listen, they were close. They were looking in each other's eyes and all that stuff. And I think he naturally went for that kiss. I don't think it was premeditated. Like, he's already been scolded for moving the bed. So I don't think he was silly enough to try and just progress it out of nowhere. I genuinely think on his side, he felt, okay, we're looking in each other's eyes. We're close. And, it just wasn't reciprocated. She wasn't taken completely by surprise where she pushed him off or anything. But she just don't want to kiss that man. She don't want to be intimate with him. She doesn't want to develop their connection further. So, like I said, I just see it as she's just keeping him around just for the sake of it, just so she doesn't have to go out and start something new with someone else.
Yeah, I totally get that, man. I definitely get that, and yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that part. I won't even say too much again. I think I've said enough, but yeah, I definitely see that aspect,
Right.
and I definitely understand it. I definitely get it. Um, yeah, and to be honest, yeah, I know. Yeah, no, you know, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I just think, you know, that kiss wasn't. It was. I think it was a moment, right? It was. I think she. And this is the crazy thing about it, bro. It's what will really, really can be tough, right? You know, women are very interesting creatures, right? Women are very interesting creatures, because they like to sometimes test things, right? So, and men do this too, actually. To be honest, right? I think she wanted to try to see, like, let me just try one last thing to see if there will be a connection. So she let the moment build up. It was the right kind of moment. It was the right season and the right time. And then they ended up kissing, and she's like, I didn't feel what I thought I would might feel, and it's a confirmation of what I've been feeling. It's not gonna work. But what she hasn't done is had a conversation with him, because it's confirmed. In reality, she can't do with him, right? But the kiss is that indication. Sometimes women will try to test it a little bit just to kind of see, like, you know, maybe I'm doing too much, maybe I'm not feeling it. But in reality, yeah, that's the situation. You know what I mean?
And you know what? Like, as guys, we can tell when a girl likes us. Like, we've all been with someone that we felt a connection with, where we're like, wow, this girl really likes me, right? And you know what happens when a girl really likes you? Bro, the walls come down. You don't have to do all these amazing flips and tricks and walk on eggshells and things like that. It's like a natural vibe when you're together. And you know, she'll pretty much show you her loving, warm, caring side. Um, if she's feeling you. It's when they're not feeling you, that's when they're able to put these hurdles up and chastise you and keep you at bay and keep you at distance, keep you hanging on and all this other stuff. When they like you, it's like it hurts them to push you away. But when they can get you in close and share intimate moments with you, create moments with you, create memories, you know, that's when you know they really like you. So Jody don't like him at all. And unfortunately, you know, I just hope it isn't too messy when she does break it off. But I definitely see her walking out, and definitely before him doing it, because she seems like she's got the stronger personality and she's not afraid to say what she wants, whereas he seems to hold back, and he seems to get a lot of support from the guys now when, you know, when he's talking these things out. And it was interesting to hear Chris just say, listen, man, I don't like the way you're being treated by your girl, bro. Like, I think she's the most favorite person in the house, because they probably align on so much, Chris and Jody. Like, they get each other, they understand each other. But yo, he's saying, listen, this lady is a problem, bro, and she's treating you real bad, and you need to find yourself out of there. So coming from Chris, I think that resonated as well a bit with Aaron, but it still wasn't enough to give him the boost to go and actually sit down with her and say, look, where are we actually going? You know, you don't want to be intimate, you don't like the closeness. I understand you've got previous trauma and all that stuff. We can try to work through it together and hopefully form a relationship where that is no longer a major factor. But, you know, we need to have a plan of what we're going to do. Either you're going to get the help to get over the situation, and maybe lifelong therapy, who knows? But listen, we need to be productive in trying to allow you to get past that particular situation so that you're not inflicting it on me. That's the type of conversation you need to have with her. But like I said, that may be wishful thinking, bro. All right, let's shift it. We got the elder statesman of the group. We have Aaron H and Dymond. Now, we didn't see too much from them this episode. There wasn't too much of a a situation between them in particular, but we did see Dymond reveal from a conversation with Alexis that some shenanigans had been attempted in the house. And first of all, I just want to know, do you think Dymond was messy for coming to tell Shay the way she did?
Well, I do think
Wait, you're muted, bro. Broski, you're muted, bro.
sorry, when I don't know what happened there, bro. Nothing's happening.
Struggle streaming, bro. Struggle streaming
Bro,
with
for
JR
real.
tonight, bro.
No. In reality, the situation. In reality, the situation. You know, I think the situation. I think the situation. This situation, in a sense, is that. I think that she could but didn't but couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I get why she did, but I don't get why she did. And I think what made it messy was also her just what made it messy for me partly was that she stood in the situation. So she, instead of actually kind of like exiting, she went and stood in the room they were talking, and then tried to do like damage limitation. Baby, you can't do damage limitation now, you done told her the truth, you know. So I was like, okay, it's a bit much. You get what I'm saying to you? It's a bit of a mad thing. But yeah, no, I think in reality, when I look at the situation, I was looking and I was like, okay, this ain't it. Like, if I'm really truly honest with you, you know, I see the situation. I'm like, this ain't it. This ain't it. This ain't cool. You know, because she could have just kept the information to herself as well. And I felt like, did it really need to come out? Like, did she really need to be involved? You know, that's the only thing. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I get why she did on both. I get why and I get why not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now I hear you, bro. Now, for me, I'm like, if you really have that information, you need to get conclusively what happened from Alexis's point of view, right? First of all, did they actually sleep together? Right? Don't just be coming out there saying, oh, well, you know, I heard that your man tried to initiate something with Alexis. No, be specific. What did Alexis actually say? Did they sleep together in the house? If they did, that is very heinous. Yo, Josh and Shay have already been in the boom boom room the most out of all the couples. So there's a connection there, at least physically, sexually. For him to then still want to go and mess with someone else's girl in the place, in the house, yo, that's despicable behavior on Josh's part. And Alexis, listen, man, you got no business sleeping with someone else's man, or even having that conversation about threesomes or whatever you was talking about, right? And Shay, I think, is definitely caught in the middle, because I think Josh's situation with his roommate now plays into the way she kind of sees Josh. Even though she's moved past it, she said they stopped talking for 2 years, right? That's a long time. And then they rekindled. But I think that situation will always be in the back of her mind. So if she does hear an allegation about him doing something, then she can always refer to that. Oh, well, you know what? Well, you were meant to just be platonic with this girl and you end up having a baby. So how do I know you ain't, you know? That's the type of mindset that I think can stem from what he did. But to be fair, I don't think I've seen enough to believe that something definitely transpired like that. It does look very suspicious, though. I'm not sure why he would be leaving the room at night, pitch black, like going out with Alexis into the hallway to go and have a conversation. But at the same time, why would you go to the hallway to have sex when anybody could come out the room? Anybody could overhear you what you're doing. And the moment that they find out that you're not with Shay and Alexis ain't with Dominique, the moment they saw that, that's gonna spread like wildfire through the place. So I don't know if he's that stupid or that tusty, that horny to jeopardize his connection with Shay like that. He'll be a very silly man.
Yeah, this. I mean, look, if he's done something, it's silly. If he's done something, he's really, really silly. I hope he didn't, because that'll be dumb. Can't lie to you, that'll be real, real dumb, and he'll regret that if he has. So, yeah, personally, yeah, I think in this situation, I think yeah, in a situation, I think it's tough, man. It's tough. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, but I think if he's done something stupid, he gonna regret it. Cause like to do it so close proximity as well is just dumb. Now I hope that Alexis has been a little bit trifling, and I hope that Dymond was doing way too much. Um, uh, so that like this so that this doesn't become true, because I don't know, could he have done it? Yeah, that's nuts. I hope not, but he maintains his innocence. So I mean, I don't
Yeah,
want to say definitely he did it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. He maintained his innocence, but from most people's opinion, just watching the show, it doesn't look good. You know, it's wrong to condemn someone or convict them before they've actually been proven to have done what they've been accused of. It's never a good thing to do, but the evidence doesn't look good. And I agree. It would be very, very, very silly to do that in such close proximity to Shay. I mean, the situation with the roommate, he'd been talking to Shay for 12 years. We still don't know if they were exclusive, but they must have been at the time when he slept with the roommate, because he told Shay. So they must have had a deal where, if anything happens, I
Friendly.
need to be forward and forthcoming with what's happening. Because 12 years is a long time to go without actually meeting someone physically. So you got to be doing something. Um, so I think, like I said, that's always going to factor into any move he makes that may bring about any type of insecurities from Shay. Because that is a very long-term situation now. You've got a kid with someone who you were meant to have a platonic relationship. You weren't meant to be going anywhere near them, like sexually, physically, intimately, but you've done it, and now you've got a baby as a result of it. We don't even know if it was the first time that they did it and she got pregnant. It could have been a couple times. But at the end of the day, if he wants to win Shay's trust, I think what they need to do is actually, I know Alexis is off the show right now, but they need to actually discuss what actually took place with Alexis, Josh, and Shay, not Dymond. Dymond seems to get into other people's business too much, and she hasn't learned a lesson from when she got into Sandia, Chris, and Jodie's business and how that kicked off. So there's an element of messiness that Dymond has where she seems to get involved in people's business. And I also think that the game that they played, where it turned out that Shay and Josh know each other the most, they actually won that game. I think that also is the reason why Dymond went and spilled the beans at that particular time. Because if this is something she's known about for a while, why choose to do it now? Why not speak to Alexis and get conclusive proof first before going to drop that seed, plant that seed in Shay's mind. Very bad mind, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the point. This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The whole point. So we don't know if it is. Um, we don't know if it is, and that's the key point. We don't know if it is, and I think I wish it was made clearer. Um, I wish it was made clearer. Um, and I wish it was made more obvious because at this point we're sharing information that doesn't need to be shared. Do you know what I'm saying to you? We're saying things we don't need to say, like unless we know for 100%. So, I think when stuff like this, when there's no guarantee, got to be very careful. As well. And why now? Because obviously, I'm clear that it sounded like Alexa had told it a little while ago. Why was Dymond sitting on it for such a long time? That's the question only she can answer. So, it just seems a bit political. I can't lie to you.
Definitely strategic. Like, just go and cause chaos and then tiptoe out of there while Shay and Josh are now beefing and have to pick up the pieces, right? Because they seem to be getting on well, right? When they played that game, and they seem to be like cool throughout the entire season so far. But yeah, Dymond, in my opinion, like I said, if she was gonna go to great lengths to expose what happened, yeah, you may have a concern, but get your facts first. Because if they go to Alexis and Alexis says none of that happened, then Dymond's gonna look extremely messy, right? And why is I'm not sure why Josh would entertain Alexis because he has Shay there, but Alexis has made it clear on her interview with Dominique after coming off the show that they never really had a connection. So what were you there for? Trying to steal another woman's man? Because you and Dominique weren't a thing apparently. So yeah, that needs to be cleared up from the horse's mouth, not Dymond going in between relaying messages, because she might be adding on her 2 cents.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like when things go through hearsay, when things go through the ears, when things go through Chinese whispers, yeah, we can get in trouble. So hopefully they sort it out, and hopefully it's not what it is, and hopefully it's something different. But time will tell. You know what I mean?
Now I hear you on that, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Josh and Shay, as we discussed, like their relationship has been fairly smooth up until this point. Do you think that they recover from this, or do you think this is going to cause a downward spiral with them?
I mean, to be honest, like there's no smoke without fire, but also sometimes people lie. So they shouldn't let it get to them. Shouldn't let it take them down a downward spiral. And she doesn't have any proof that he actually did something. So she has to also be very careful. It could take them down the road. I think personally they'll recover. They'll get over it. Recover. It'll be okay. But it just needs to happen.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
So,
all right.
yeah.
So from the remaining 5 couples, who do you see making it, bro? At this point, like, who do you see actually crossing the finish line together, building on a relationship and possibly progressing?
Yeah, no, I think at this point, who's gonna make it? Like past the show, Chris and Sandia, because she ain't gonna say nothing. She's gonna keep staying in it. Potentially, Millie and Greg will stay together for a little while. Dymond and old boy gonna stay in it. They're gonna stick together. As well. And I think Shay and Josh are gonna make it past the show, right? Now, who's got the best chance of making it long term? Probably Josh and Shay. But Rhea and Charlie, they got things to work out. Millie and Greg got a good opportunity if they can work out the trauma. It's Chris and Sandia. Yeah, I'm scared for that one. Can't lie to you. Dymond and Aaron. It can work, but you know what? I think there's more hidden. I think there's more skeletons in the closet. And then Aaron and Jody, boy, let me just say, it shouldn't. After the show done, they're done. You know what I'm saying to you?
Right. Okay. I'm gonna go with. I think Aaron H and Dymond I think they will stay together. I think they are both messy. You know, we saw Aaron try to sway Aaron J's dad with his opinion of Millie last week. That was a very messy thing to do. And Dymond, as I mentioned before, she's been at the center of some messiness at least twice, big flare-ups. So they're messy. I'm not saying that's the thing that keeps them together, but I think they are alike in some ways. And they obviously do like each other. They haven't had an intimacy issue. You know, he respects where they are, and so does she. He doesn't have eyes for anybody else. He's made that clear many times. And as long as he keeps getting fed them toes, I think Aaron's there. If she deprives him of the toes, then yeah, it may hit the rocks. I think it may hit a rocky road. But they're the strongest couple for me. Chris and Sandia, I think they have a chance to make it. But Chris is going to have to back his talk from this episode. He's really going to have to show that he's not out there in the clubs, you know, trying to deal with baddie strippers. He needs to appreciate the lady that he has in front of him and realize that if he's going to be in a relationship with Sandia, he's going to have to acquiesce in some ways, the same way that she does, because she's made it very clear what she's looking for in a husband and all that stuff. He's going to have to acquiesce to meet that requirement in order to make that relationship work. You're going to have to sacrifice. Greg and Millie. I think Greg and Millie are an interesting one. If she can somehow avoid going off on Greg in the way that we've seen her go off on on Chris, for example, then I think they stand a good chance. If she has no self-control and she's able to fly off the handle quickly, Greg, you need to get out of there, because it is going to lead to a lot of verbal abuse. And because I think he does like her, he's trying to comfort her, be there for her, he's trying to get through things no matter what. I think he may stay there at the expense of his own feelings and mental health and things like that. Because trust me, it's hard to be in love with someone, want something to work, and even though they tell you that they do, when they're able to flip on you and demoralize you, that hurts even more because of how much you care for them and love them. So other than that, I don't see, obviously, Aaron and Jody, I definitely don't see them staying together. And Josh and Shay, I don't think make it. He's always going to be under scrutiny. He can't, listen, if he breathes wrong, right, she's going to have an insecurity about it. The situation that he created has casted a long shadow over their relationship. She is now going to have to meet this roommate, and they're going to have to try and form some type of relationship with the roommate and the child being a part of their lives. I think that's going to be very difficult to do. So as much as I wish it was different because they get on so well, the reality is his faux pas, his stepping out, has caused a major problem with that relationship. All right, cool. Well, any more thoughts, bro?
Nah.
All right, cool, man. Well, brother, it is a blessing to have you come through tonight, bro.
Indeed, yeah, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much, bro. Thank you much to all the audience tuning in. It's been fun. I mean, this episode wasn't as problematic and chaotic as the previous one, but we did get some good bits and pieces to chop up. So, yeah, hopefully for the next couple of episodes that we have left, we start to see some connections forming, and we can get a better understanding of who's gonna actually survive and actually build and grow from this experience of meeting each other. So with that being said, have a good night, everyone. Take care. Peace out. And see you next week. Ciao.
Blessings.